Fundamental Rights Enforcement suit filed by the suspended Director General of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, Captain Musa Nuhu, against the ICPC. Captain Nuhu had challenged the invitation extended to him by the ICPC in connection with official vehicles allegedly remaining in his possession during his suspension from office. The applicant contended that the invitation amounted to harassment, intimidation, and a violation of his fundamental rights to personal liberty and freedom of movement as guaranteed under Sections 35 and 41 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. In his originating summons, Captain Nuhu further argued that he was already under investigation by the EFCC and that the invitation from the ICPC, a sister anti-corruption agency, constituted a duplication of investigative processes. In response, the ICPC, through a 13-paragraph counter-affidavit, stated that 8 months after his suspension, Captain Nuhu continued to retain and use 3 official vehicles belonging to the federal government. The Commission maintained that these vehicles were official government properties and that it was within its statutory mandate to recover such assets pending the conclusion of investigations. Countering the applicant's arguments on alleged duplicity of investigation, the ICPC clarified that its invitation to the suspended NCAA bus was limited to the recovery of government property unlawfully retained, which was distinct from the subject of investigation being handled by the EFCC. In her judgment, Honorable Justice Njideka Nwosuiheme held that there was no fundamental right of the applicant known to law that had been breached or warranted any judicial protection. She dismissed the application while describing it as unmeritorious. With this ruling, the court affirmed the ICPC's legal authority to invite and question suspended public officials over the use or retention of government property pending investigations. That is all on this segment. Transparency Files continues with Mrona. Please stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
You see, I don't pity those corrupt officials. They are terrible.
All of them are thieves.
It's those small corruption that is killing this country.
Benny, it's true.
Greetings to you, sir.
Greetings, my brother.
From the power company. I discover you connected illegally.
It's not only me. Even Baba Femi here is connected indirectly. Even with our prepaid meter, he connected indirectly.
That is even more.
Iyarisika connected indirectly.
No. It is wrong to connect electricity illegally.
Young man, I have a son like you. Ba la fi jẹun.
You are not supposed to offer me bribe. Bribery is corruption. Not in my country. Daniel, take off the light.
Yeah.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
If you're just tuning in, welcome back to Transparency Files. Every organization relies on professionals who do the right thing even when no one is watching. In law enforcement, public service, education, and business, professionalism builds trust between institutions and the people they serve. At the ICPC, professionalism means adhering to ethical standards, being guided by the rule of law, and handling every case with fairness, confidentiality, and competence. It's what ensures that justice is not just done, but seemed to be done. To discuss how professionalism strengthens the anti-corruption system, we spoke with some staff members of the Commission. Let's take a listen.
Professionalism is an expression of capability. It's an expression of intelligence. It's an expression of carrying out, discharging your duties in line with the ethics and practices of the Commission. Professionalism involves the conduct of that officer in discharging his or her duty, the ability to discharge without fear or favor or contradiction. in acting in line with the professional ethics or organizational ethics, he does that without him doing what is inimical to the image of the service. Such an officer can be called a professional to the core. Is well respected because is dependable. Such an officer is dependable and you can be trustworthy.
Okay, to me, I think professionalism in the context of anti-corruption simply means upholding high standards of competence, integrity, and ethical behavior in discharging your duties. When you do things with integrity, meaning that you do things right even when no one is watching, and you don't cross the lines in doing your job, definitely you will be avoiding corruption because you won't go against the rules, and then you always do the right thing at the right time. Professional behavior, being honest, doing your job in an honest manner, being impartial and fair in decision making, being objective when you're taking decisions, and then taking responsibility for your actions.
Training and retraining are very crucial to both employees and the organization. You see, with training and retraining, it enhances the performance of an organization, and also it boosts productivity of an organization. Yes, obviously, I attended some training, so to say, but obviously it really enhances my capability in the discharge of my duties, because you see, it gives you, anybody who undergo training, it will give you an impetus for you, to perform credibly, to increase your productivity, to enhance job satisfaction, and also to build your confidence in discharging your duties.
Thank you for staying with us. Professionalism is not just about having qualifications. It is about character, commitment, and consistency. When civil servants, law enforcement officers, journalists, and even contractors perform their duties with integrity, it creates a culture where corruption cannot easily survive. We also spoke with the head of the Commission's Training and Capacity Development Unit on how regular training, mentorship, and performance monitoring keep officers sharp, disciplined, and ethically grounded. Let's hear her.
As an accountant, the fight against corruption, you need to study books. You need to study figures. So most of our staff, officers, are ICANN certified, ANA certified, rest. Same with our admin staff, administration department staff. We have professionals, Chartered Institute of Human Resources. These are also professionals, because you need to look at nominal roles of organizations that bring in complaints about maybe loopholes in employment and the rest. Then when we talk of public relations, Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, I know the Public Enlightenment Department also have professionals. So we look at all this and it helps us. And what we do as ICPC is that we train and retrain them. We make sure that staff go on their yearly conferences, all ANAN, ICANN, Nigerian Bar Association, the Chartered Institute of Human Resources, the commission sponsor staff to attend. When people come into service, we encourage them to look onto the people that are already in service, because experience, you can never match experience, no matter how the level of the person. You may think that this person is just on level 3. For how long has he or she stayed on that schedule? So if you come in as a graduate on level 8, you have to understudy. You have to go there, look at what the person, so it's also part of mentorship. And there is this mentorship that is from your superior. The one that I just explained from your junior, you're already his senior by employment. There's one that comes when it is your senior, maybe your immediate supervisor or your director or something like that, you look at what they do in the course of the work. So that mentorship is very, very important. It's very important. Yes, as people are in the service, there are several ways of gauging their performance. You don't just wave person with just saying that the person is incompetent or the person is it's not good for that particular job. Look at his strength in the area he is. What does the person need? That's part of performance. Does he really need? Is it training that the person needs? Is it mentoring that the person? Some people just need mentoring. Some people just need training and retraining while they are doing their job. So when you are looking at performance, if you look at performance of officers, you look at how well has this, or what is wrong that this person is not performing. You look at that. Then if it's training, fine, you schedule him for training. If it's change of schedule, you change his schedule. If it's mentoring, you get a mentor for him to mentor him on the job. And I think that will go a long way in getting service delivery.
Welcome back. Now to the youth segment. Sometimes corruption doesn't start with a bribe. It starts with pressure. Pressure to belong or to live like others. From exam malpractice and sorting in school to inflating contracts or accepting kickbacks at work, many young people get drawn into corruption not because they want to, but because everyone around them is doing it. Let's hear from young Nigerians as they share their thoughts on how peer pressure pushes youths into corrupt acts and what can be done to break free from it.
I would say that every form of corruption, little or big, bites into the future of Nigeria as a whole. So we as young, strong, and vibrant, we have a very vital role to play when it comes to eliminating corruption, whether small or big. The little act of saying no to bribery, little act of saying no to certain things that will harm the nation's growth is what I would say that begins with anti-corruption. That's when the moment you start fighting corruption.
Our role, most especially, is standing out, being the one that will make the change. Because corruption, per se, is now resident in the youths, in quotes, in the sense that the most cases of cyber crimes coming from the youths, most cases of malpractice coming from the youth. And the moment we be the one to bring that sensitization, that, okay, this is actually not good, this is actually not good, it will help to spread the narrative to the whole others that needs to know the dangers of engaging in corrupt practices.
So you get to see that in universities mostly, where you have large accommodation of the youths, you tend to see that most of them indulge in Yahoo practices. And then you now seeing that, okay, I have this friend that's into Yahoo and he's actually doing fine, he's driving flashy cars, living expensive lifestyle, you feel intimidated. So you'll be like, guy, come and teach me so and so thing that you're doing and let me too belong into the society, that kind of thing. Then the second one is the everyone is doing it syndrome, where people try to generalize corruption. They tell you that, this is something this guy is doing now. Why are you now doing strong head? Just follow them, do what they're doing. At least you myself, you see something from inside. To break free from this, I would say knowing self-awareness. If you know yourself, know the background you came out from, your values which you uphold, then I think that all those things don't actually have much effect on you.
So as a person, generally, if you do not know who you are, and if you've yet to identify who you are and what your worth is, anything will come and will move you like a wind. So when pressure comes and you don't know you don't have a direction that you have given yourself or a target, then any pressure will come and then you go with it. A solution that can be given to that is to know yourself, identify your strengths and your weakness, know what works for you, and then move with that, not allowing the noise from the outside world distract you from where you're heading to.
Peer pressure does that in various ways. I think it's majorly centered on the facts, rather centered on the person who's experiencing it. You get maybe the fear of like rejection, maybe wanting to feel among, and the avoidance of confrontation. You get as a whole, it happens in human beings a lot. People need to learn to be assertive, in the sense that when your yes is yes and your no is no, you get. So like if someone tells you to do something, sometimes people, they have what they want to do and then they have what they have to do, allegedly. So like when people are telling you, oh, do this, do that, and all of that, if you're aware that you shouldn't do this or you don't want to do this, I think having the guts to say no helps you stand out and also avoid, doing it in the end.
I am a Nigerian, a highly cultured race. My culture abhors corruption, and with my integrity, a new Nigeria is possible. I say no to corruption today to build a future for my children. Join me and imbibe the culture of integrity to build a Nigeria of our dreams.
Before we end this week's edition of the program, here is an update on activities from our state offices across the country. Damilola Oyejegede is our guide.
From Imo State, the ICPC has inaugurated the Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit Act 2 at the Federal Medical Center, Umuahia, Abia State. Led by Mrs. Chinwe Egbeocha, Deputy Director, ICPC Imo State Office, the exercise emphasized the Commission's commitment to promoting integrity and accountability in public institutions. The newly inaugurated 6-member team was charged to uphold transparency, fairness, and due process in service delivery, while the center's management pledged continued support for ICPC's anti-corruption initiatives. ICPC Ondo State has sensitized staff of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security on ethical conduct, anti-corruption principles, and the National Ethics and Integrity Policy, NEIP. The session, facilitated by Mr. Ganiu Owolabi, head of the Public Enlightenment and Education Unit, focused on promoting integrity, accountability, and transparency in agricultural service delivery. He urged participants to uphold the 7 core values of the NEIP and apply them in program implementation. The state coordinator of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Mr. Sunday Ojo, commended ICPC's enlightenment efforts and pledged continuous collaboration to strengthen ethical standards in public service. In Sokoto, ICPC has sensitized members of the NYSC Anti-Corruption CDS Group and presented certificates to outgoing 2024 Batch C Core members for their active participation in anti-corruption advocacy. The session, held at the Federal Government College, Sokoto, emphasized integrity, transparency, and accountability as pillars of national development. Representing the resident anti-corruption commissioner, Mr. Yusuf Kabiru, commended the core members for their commitment and urged them to remain ambassadors of integrity beyond their service year. Also from Niger State, The resident anti-corruption commissioner, Mr. Kennedy Ebotemen, led a delegation on a courtesy visit to the State Independent Electoral Commission. The visit sought to strengthen collaboration towards promoting transparency and accountability in electoral processes. Mr. Ebotemen highlighted ICPC's role in ensuring corruption-free elections, while the chairman of the Electoral Commission expressed appreciation and pledged continued partnership with ICPC in advancing integrity and good governance in the state.
And that brings us to the end of today's edition of Transparency Files. Join us again next week, Friday at 6:30 p.m. on the network service of NTA and NTA International. Until then, remain professional, accountable, and committed to transparency. Bye for now.
Right off, that's a tuba roaring in place of an otherwise silent Leo the lion. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you, wherever you may be. I am Richard Band. As you can see, this is habeas corpus, quintessential Laurel and Hardy black humor. Listening to this, we know you are serious about these films. Good for you. So you want scare comedy? Here it is. First thing to notice is the absence of George Stevens as the photographer in the credits, which are framed like gravestones. Hal Roach had assigned him to the then new Max Davidson series, so Stevens was only on an intermittent basis. Here shortly is Richard Carl as the obvious lunatic. Before Lucien Littlefield was cast as the eccentric scientist in Dirty Work, Mr. Carl was slated for that role. And with him here is Laurel's crony from the Carno troupe, Charlie Rogers, as the watchful detective and later as a corpse, but showing signs of life. If we hadn't seen habeas corpus before, we wouldn't know. This is a continuity error here, as Hardy isn't supposed to have paint stains on his sleeve until later when he tries to climb that street sign. So the film was not shot in sequence. In fact, the wet paint signpost scene was the first camera setup on the evening of July 16, 1928, which was the first night of shooting, and they worked from paragraphs 12 through 17 in the shooting script. And there are some other continuity errors here where things don't exactly match from scene to scene, but we don't care about that, do we? No, we don't. The poor hapless boy should have known Richard Carl was crazy, but he offers them, of all people, he offers them $500 to rob a grave, which is just shy of $9,000 in today's inflated money. The few interiors which open the picture here were shot on stage 2 on the 7th day of filming on a Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. Then that Wednesday, Stan Laurel was out ill for a few days. Principal photography and retakes on habeas corpus covered the dates from July 16 through August 8, 1928. They had to suspend production, as I say, when Stan Laurel took ill the second week. During that period, George Stevens was lining up shots elsewhere in both Max Davidson and Feed 'em and Weep, and Charlie Chase in a film called All Parts. So here are Stan Laurel, age 38, and Oliver Hardy, age 36, looking great in their prime. And reminiscent of One Good Turn, we just saw the boys as vagabonds